What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the economic calendar moving forward, what's going on with other factors involving the markets and Tesla, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I begin to this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. Anyways, now let's break down what's happening with the market. Tesla got this very nice looking rally all the way up to this 250 area, and Tesla is starting to shuffle a bit right over here, which I think could continue for a bit longer. However, I don't think the move is completely done with Tesla just yet, because if you look at the way Tesla moved on Friday, a bunch of buyers stepped in. They ended up defending the share price, and we saw Tesla actually push towards the end of the day back into the green. So the full measured move would be very close to this 260 area. I still think Tesla could push a little bit more to get up there. And then once we reach that, we might see some more consolidation. We might see a little slowdown. That would be completely normal until earnings comes out and other factors that help the share price go even higher. But overall, Tesla is still very bullish, and there's a lot more upside potential for like the more medium term. For the short term, we might shuffle a bit where we currently are at, but I could still see us push a little higher into the 260s. So I'll break down more details about this, some levels to watch for, and how things are looking for the whole market in just a couple of minutes. I first want to talk about some data and news about Tesla. So what's happening with all the data that's coming out? As a reminder, tomorrow is going to be Monday, July 8th, 2024. Just notes that at 11 o'clock a.m., we have the consumer inflationary expectations report, and at 11:30 a.m., we have the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions coming out. That's going to be very important because at the 11 o'clock a.m. hour, there's going to be quite a bit of volatility with all this data coming out. Then on Tuesday, and I want to make this very clear, Monday is going to be a quiet data day, but Tuesday is when we have Jerome Powell giving a testimony. When the guy starts speaking, the market likes to move like crazy. So someone has asked, does it even matter if Jerome Powell speaks nowadays? Look at the last time the guy spoke, right? He gave a speech this week, and as a result of his speech, the market started pumping like crazy. You could see how Jerome Powell's speech affected the market. That's what started off this big rally the market has seen, and just goes to show that his words are still very significant and they still affect the markets big time. So he's giving a testimony on Tuesday. It could cause another pump in the markets or even a dump. We'll have to wait and see. Wednesday, we have Jerome Powell also giving another speech at 10 o'clock a.m. And then for Thursday, we have CPI data coming out. And Fridays when we have PPI and the Michigan Consumer Sentiment data coming out. So every day we have something big, except for Monday, we have some minor data. I also want to call out some earnings. As a reminder, guys, for before the market opens, we have JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and Citi all announcing their earnings. This might cause some high volatility on Friday for the overall markets. So just get ready. But this is what the earnings calendar looks like for the week. Everything's very minor for the first 3 days. Very minor stuff. But for Thursday, we have PepsiCo and Delta Airlines. And then Fridays, when we have the big bank earnings starting, that's going to cause some high volatility. Now, before I get to Tesla news, I just want to mention that right now the market is more neutral, kind of in the middle, but it is favoring greed because we're starting to see a lot more of these buyers stepping in. However, just to be very frank with everyone, momentum is also extremely greedy because we're currently well above our 125 daily moving average, which is very awesome to witness. On top of this, I just want to call out that we have the puts and call option positioning at extreme greed. Greed is making up the majority of sentiment, and we're starting to see more buyers stepping in as a result of that. And right now, the greed that's helping to dictate price action is very important, at least for dictating the overall flow we're seeing in the options chain and also how the market's holding up. Now, volatility is also kind of neutral. The VIX is very lackluster, still below its key moving average. This tells us that right now the market still has a lot of buyers, and there's no sign of us getting a big rug pull quite yet. Now, as far as Tesla goes, there's some news coming out that Tesla's preparing for construction at the Nvda semi factory. This is good news for them because the new semis that are coming out for Tesla are not only very powerful, but they're gaining popularity as we're starting to see a lot of companies like PepsiCo getting involved in ordering them. And as these grow over time, this will help build more revenue for Tesla. This is a big business, and Tesla's now getting its hands all over the place, which is very bullish for them. On top of this, Tesla's been expanding the Nvda for more and more capabilities for its semis and also the 4680 cells. Awesome stuff for Tesla. Very bullish, and I can't wait to see how this ends up going. There's also some news that came out that in May, Tesla delivered an additional 50 semis to the PepsiCo company, and it's going to be following them for deliveries to like Costco's and Walmart's out there. So it's going to be very cool. I can't wait to see how this improves over time, and the growth is still very perpetual. Now, On top of all of this, there's some news that there's been an apparent Model Y Jupiter refresh, Juniper refresh, excuse me. It was spotted under the wraps. Now, this is not 100% confirmed, but there's some outlets out there talking about this. This isn't guaranteed, guys. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is what is happening for sure, but it is a possibility that this refreshed model could be coming out. The Model Y being covered like this could be, getting ready for something very cool. But I think that with this potentially happening, we don't know for sure. We know that this year the refresh Model Y is not hitting the market, but maybe next year later on. But it's very, very cool to see this, just some rumors coming out about this, a lot of excitement towards this. It's just that I can't confirm that this is going to be the case. I can't confirm that this will be coming out by next year, but very, very cool stuff nonetheless. As far as Tesla goes, I just want to mention that right now, TD Cowen has given Tesla a hold rating. We have other companies and other analysts giving them buy ratings, outperform ratings from like Wedbush. That's good for Tesla. Price price ratio is climbing because Tesla is gaining a lot of strength right now. We're seeing a lot more buyers stepping in. Then we also have other factors such as seasonality. Mondays tend to be green about 53% of the time, and we tend to see more volatility around 11 o'clock a.m. and also during like the second to last hour of the day. And then on top of this, we're starting to see a lot more upside potential. Excuse me. I also want to call out that the dark pool volume is still at these highs right now, despite the fact that volume is at 154 million. Just want to call that out, that we're starting to see a lot more shorting that's going on, at least on Tesla. Shorts are starting to pile in, and we're starting to see a big shift. With lots of shorts piling into Tesla, though, I would still be very, very careful because once again, you never know how things will kind of like progress right over here, especially as Tesla still has more upside potential. And I just want to warn to be careful when it comes to trying to short Tesla. There still are a lot of these shorts piling in. So with that being said, as far as Tesla goes, I wanted to mention that Tesla is still very, very bullish, making higher highs and higher lows, breaking out very, very nicely, and there is more upside potential in my personal opinion. But for the short term, make sure you watch these particular levels. I want to call out the hourly time frame as Tesla's actually holding some key support and how this is actually very important. So notice how Tesla was pushing very nicely for the last couple of days, and then on Friday, we had this 250 area as a very, very important level. Tesla kind of struggled in the beginning, got a little rejection. Then we started testing this green line right here. This is our 20 EMA and bounced off of this. So buyers came back and they pushed Tesla for the last 3 hours of the day. This suggests that there are a lot of buyers still here. This has like a nice couple like structure. And going into tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla does something similar. If Tesla kind of pops, comes back down to retest its EMA, kind of shuffles between 248 and 252, I think that there's a good chance we're going to do that for some time. And then eventually we're going to push higher towards 260. That's what I think is the most likely possibility. So tomorrow, look for a little dip, a bounce, some sideways price action, and a push for 260. That is the most likely possibility in my personal opinion. So overall, Tesla's looking more and more bullish. There's a lot more upside potential. And we're going to be looking for, once again, a retest of our 20 EMA and then some consolidation before we start to push towards that 260 area. I think Tesla has more upside potential. I don't think we're quite done yet with this pump. I think that the upside is looking more probable, and we'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. If we were to get bad news and turn bearish, we want to see Tesla lose both 245 and then 242. If that were the case, then yes, we could turn more bearish. If we manage to break past the high that we had from Friday, we could turn more bullish. This is favoring upside. Like I said before, consolidation and then eventually some upside is looking a lot more probable. When you look at the daily time frame as well for Tesla, not looking too bad. We actually have a nice looking structure right over here. It's still very bullish. I want to make that clear. It's still very bullish. Haven't made that full measure move to 260 quite yet. And I still think Tesla has more momentum to get there. So it's not done yet. Wants to push a little bit higher. Looks bullish to me. How about for SPY? SPY is looking very bullish on the daily time frame, so it's favoring upside. However, that's going to depend on one more thing. On SPY, we're going to be testing our 555 area. I want to see if that breaks or not. So if we were hypothetically bearish, you want to see us basically reject off 555 and start dipping back down to about 550, 552. Losing that opens the doors for a retest of 550.5. That's where we had the breakout, and we'll see if we bounce off that or not. If we remain bullish and break past 555, look at 556 and 557.5. So those are your levels to watch for. Do we get a rejection, lose 553.8 and 552 and turn bearish, or do we end up breaking past 555 to turn bullish? Well, just know that SPY is at all-time highs. And since we're at all-time highs, we've never seen this stock this high in this territory before. So that's why you want to be a little bit mindful of that. But just know we still look very bullish and we favor the upside considering all these different factors. So I personally think that, whoops, sorry about that, guys. I think that SPY will most likely push higher. It looks like more bullish. If we retest 555 and break it, I think 557.5 is coming. I favor that a little bit more from a technical standpoint as SPY is just continuing to break out. So the share price is still looking very, very bullish. Nvidia was trying to break out, and now we're just kind of consolidating right here. We look kind of bearish on the 4 hour. Watch for a test of 124.8. If we lose this, look for 122. If we hold this, we're going back up to 127, but we're not getting the break we really wanted to see. I think we're going to dip a little bit more to 124.8 and then possibly 122.8 if that fails. And then we'll see if we get a bounce off one of those levels or not. Look for a little bit of downside on Nvidia and see if we end up getting a bounce, at least moving forward. But just know that there's a little bit of weakness in the chart relative to the markets. Nvidia is not holding up as well as it has in the past. It is still a little bit lackluster, so just be very careful with it. As far as Bitcoin goes, the 4 hour is showing a little bit of a dip, but I'll be watching to see if 56,000 holds. If that holds, we could try to rebound and retest our 20 EMA at this 57,500 area, and eventually 58,600. My guts tells me this may dip a little bit, then try to rebound. But overall, Bitcoin is still kind of like bearish looking. It's still been on a bit of a downtrend right here. So I think, we might dip a little bit more than try to rebound a bit. But like I said before, downside is still looking quite imminent. So look for a little bit of a dip. I think we dip a little bit more, and then we'll see if we get that bounce or not. I'll be watching and waiting for that at least very carefully. As far as the QQQ goes, the 4 hour is looking more bullish. We're seeing a very, very nice looking big bar right here. If we end up projecting losing 494, we'll be tipping all the way down to 492. If we end up breaking out to 496.5, we'll be looking for about 498. Overall, the 4 hour is looking very, very strong, very, very nice right now. There's a good chance that this is going to continue to go higher. And I think that there's a good chance that 498 is looking more probable. But make sure you watch the levels. If we end up losing 494, look for a bigger dip. As long as we hold above that, I think we're going to be pushing higher. And from a technical standpoint, we favor upside as a stronger possibility. This looks like it wants to go up to about 498 then 500. I think the QQQ is not showing signs that's done yet, and we're still very, very bullish in my personal opinion. Now, when it comes to Aapl is looking more bullish on the 4 hour time frame as well. We're looking at 226.5. If we break through this, I'll be looking at 227.5 and eventually higher levels. If we end up losing support at 225, we'll be dipping back down towards 222.5 as well. That's where we had this breakdown, this imbalance right here. So I think from a technical standpoint, the 4 hour is looking a little bit more bullish, and I favor 227.5 plus as being the most likely level to be watching for. So that looks more bullish to me. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go over a few more tickers now. For Palantir, the 4 hour is looking a little bit more bullish. If we break past 27.5, I'll be looking for basically 28 to be tested. If we reject here, we'll be tipping all the way back down towards 26.8. But overall, we're looking a little bit more bullish. I think that 27.5 could be tested, and we're going to likely continue to go higher. Palantir is still looking very, very bullish. I think 27.5 and 28 are going to be our targets, still holding up very, very well. For Supermicro, I'd be kind of careful with this as we're just kind of consolidating right over here. If we end up breaking through this resistance right here around this, basically this 850 area, I'll be looking at 867. If we end up losing 831, look for a dip back down to 800. Those are going to be your levels to watch for. My gut is telling me this is kind of consolidating, but it has a little bit more potential for upside. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. For Rivian, on the 4 hour, we're trying to hold our 20 EMA so far. If we were to hypothetically lose 14.33, look for 13.42 to be tested. As long as we hold this support, however, we're going to be going all the way back up to about 15.5 or even higher. So what's looking more probable? The answer is right now we're continuing to hold our 20 EMA. As long as we're holding this, we favor going back up to 15.5 for a little bit of a bounce on Rivian. It is favoring that a little bit more. For SoFi has a head and shoulders like structure. If you reject off our 20 EMA, we could be dipping back down towards 6.38, and then we could be dipping down to lower levels like the low sixes. To be bullish, you want to break past 6.53. If that breaks, we're going higher all the way up towards 6.6. But with this head and shoulders, SoFi is looking a little bit more bearish, and we favor the downside, at least in my personal opinion. For the IWM Russell 2000, I'll be watching this 199 area. If we lose this, we'll be dipping all the way down towards much lower levels like 197. If we turn bullish, you want to break past 202 to turn back up, but this is favoring downside just a little bit more. We haven't been able to crack 202. We haven't been able to close above that or hold that for the last 3-4 days. So this is favoring kind of coming back down to like 197. and 199, I mean, and then 197 if that fails. So I am seeing a little bit more downside potential for the IWM, and we'll see how well we hold around 197. AMD is pumped quite a bit. We're at some tough resistance around this 175 area. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually dip just a bit to retest 169 and try to bounce off that. It's looking bullish overall. We got a very, very nice looking double bottom structure. It's kind of like a cup and handle, actually. So it is bullish. I think it's going to break out to the 180s soon, but we may get an initial dip first before we try to break out towards the 180s. So we might retest 169 before we get that big move. For ARM, this is also looking quite bullish. Got a nice break right over here above the 180 resistance. I think 184 would be our next target. So it looks more bullish to me. For Coinbase, if we end up breaking through 224, we'll be looking for 228. If you reject here and lose support, we'll be dipping back down towards 220. And then these lower levels like 216. But I favor it trying to push back up towards 228. It looks bullish to me. And I think upside's looking more probable. For Amazon, we have a nice looking bullish wedge that's forming. As long as we break 200, look for 202 and 205. We look very bullish. If we lose 197.5, we'll be dipping back down towards 194. That's looking less likely. We look like we want to push higher. Meta is looking more bullish. We have two very bullish looking bars. If we were to end up losing 537, we'll be dipping back down. As long as we break past 540, we're going to turn bullish and continue to push towards 544, then 550. This looks more bullish to me, so I favor upside on Meta. I think we're going to get very close to 544, then 550. Microsoft is looking more bullish. Look at 468 as resistance. Break that, we're going up to 470. If we reject and lose 466, we'll be dipping all the way back down towards 465. But I favor upside towards 470 is a stronger possibility. For Google's looking more bullish. If we continue to break it, I'll be looking for 192. If that holds, I'll be looking for 194. If we reject here, we'll be dipping down towards 190. So I favor upside as a stronger possibility, at least for Google. For GameStop, if GameStop breaks past 24.74, we'll push higher. If you reject here, we'll be dipping all the way down towards 23.5. But I think what's going to happen to GME is we might reject a bit, kind of retrace to 23.5. And we'll see if we get a bounce or not off of this. It's looking so right now, not really making a great move. Same thing with AMC. We pushed up to about 5.36. Now we're just kind of shuffling. I want to see it break past 5.5 to turn bullish. Otherwise, it's going to continue to consolidate for a little bit longer. DJT is looking a little bit more bearish, got a big break right over here. Look at this gap to fill down here. I think 27 is coming. So look for a test of 27 to see if we get a bounce. For the VIX, we're trying to consolidate. If we break past 12.59, we'll be pushing up higher towards 13 plus. If we fail to do so, we're just going to continue to shuffle. So I'll give that a little bit more time. Two more, guys. We have the 10-year Treasury yield still looking kind of bearish. We have Jerome Powell's speech coming out, so that's going to affect how things move. But because this is looking bearish, this is helping the market actually push. Same thing with the dollar index. We look more bearish. To me, it looks like it's going to be testing this level right here. 104.65 is likely coming. So I'm seeing a little bit more downside potential for the dollar. Hasn't really gotten a nice bounce yet, and it's continuing to fall. So that's favoring, once again, upside for the stock market. So the market's looking more bullish. We're still holding up very, very well. And Tesla's also doing a pretty good job at holding up. However, just know that Tesla has this very, very tight level around this 250 area. We'll have to see how Tesla ends up kind of consolidating here first before we get the breakout. I think there's more juice left for Tesla. We're going to try to push for 260 soon, the 260s, but we might see a little consolidation in this 250 area first before we get that nice break higher. That's looking like the most likely possibility from a technical standpoint. Okay, so look for a little bit of consolidation, then Tesla will eventually push all the way up towards the resistance, all the way up to the 260s. So I'm seeing some more potential for Tesla for upside, but we might see some consolidation first. All right, so that's it for the video. Have a great day, guys. I want to thank you all so much for listening. Have a very, very happy Sunday and just enjoy what life has to offer. I will see you guys again tomorrow before the market opens for another update video. Until then, please enjoy what life has to offer once again. Have fun. Try to take it easy and just get ready for the trading day going into tomorrow. I'll be back once again very, very soon. Thank you for listening. Tesla to the moon, because the long term is still incredibly bright. No matter what people try to say, no matter what the media throws at us, I still think Tesla has so much upside potential, and I'm very excited for what is about to come over the next couple of weeks. So get ready, guys. Do what you have to do, and peace out.